last year I was reading some articles on spirituality, and I reread the book Goddesses Within Every Woman by Dr. Jean Shinoda Bolen. I was absolutely amazed at how contemporary it felt reading about these ancient goddesses. I could see facets of my own personality in it, and I could also recognize facets of other people that I knew, other women that I knew. So it was a very contemporary feeling. As I was reading it, I was bombarded with visual images, and I thought, how can I possibly bring this to an art experience? So it took me a long time to really work out how I would work with shattered glass and found objects. I am something of a pack rat. When I find something beautiful or very interesting, I save it. In the 1994 earthquake, many of my beautiful things were shattered, but I saved them. We had some wonderful liquor bottles, and I watched the light coming through them, and I realized I had hand-blown crystal. So I saved them. Broken jewelry, I save it. That's where I get all of my materials. Okay, I have just found this little spot out here where it's perfect. It's a very primitive way of doing things. I simply put this in a bag so that the shards don't go around. Put on protective glasses and smash. And this is the glass I use to make the goddesses. Now we have to start the sorting process. This is a very thick piece. This is an end piece where I get the wonderful crystal. It's very thick and it's going to refract light beautifully. That goes into a separate space. It will probably be a corner piece. I find the quality of using broken glass fascinating because the glass, as it shatters, gives me many different prisms, and it reflects and refracts light in wonderful, wonderful ways. So in essence, what I'm doing is I'm working under all conditions of light, daylight, morning, night, regular room light, and what I'm doing is painting with light. The parameters I set up for myself when I am working is that whatever the piece of glass is, that is the way I use it. I do not cut it. So here is a wonderful little piece. I will find some place to put that where it will fit in. Nothing gets cut specially. That is the only parameter I've set for myself. If I'm going to use this piece, it will be used just that way. These beads, perhaps this will become part of her headdress. So whatever is the glass, whatever the way the glass goes is the way it's used. These leaves came from a necklace, and I just pulled them off. In the goddesses, there is always the snake, because the snake is feminine wisdom. And it's an interesting thing when you get into the patriarchal societies, when you get into Adam and Eve, the snake becomes the evil one because the snake is giving wisdom, and really what it is giving feminine wisdom. And you have St. George slaying the dragon. It's slaying the feminine wisdom. So I'm sort of bringing back all of these wonderful women who have much to teach us. This series on the goddesses, which I have put on lucite, with shattered glass and found objects, is because I got bored with working with stained glass, which I found very confining. The goddesses are very free, and this gives me much more freedom. And I can look, when I work on lucite, I can have light coming in from the front and from the back. So it's lit in many ways, and there's a great luminosity to that. I have chosen a different color and texture palette, as well as a piece of music that perfectly personifies each goddess. Passionate red and bright gold for Aphrodite, blues and greens for the sky, trees and water in Artemis wilderness, springtime pastels for Demeter and Persephone, and spiritual violet for Hestia. There are jagged shards of glass for Hera and Athena, many objects and images to illustrate Aphrodite's lust for life, and soft rounded glass for Hestia, who is set in a mandala, a visual metaphor for the universe. For music, I play forest murmurs for Artemis, love's joy for Aphrodite, the maiden and the nightingale for Persephone. In essence, I'm creating an artistic and musical mandala, a complete universe for each goddess. When I was at UCLA, I was a music and art major. So I was trained as a concert pianist. Music was always my first language, but I always did art, and I always felt a connection between the two of them. When I play a note, I have overtones. If I play many notes, I have many overtones. When I combine flat glass and shattered glass, I have many overtones of color. This series of work on the goddesses, where I use shattered glass on lucite, really takes care of all of the work I've done in my professional life. It takes care of the art, the design, scientific research, and music.